Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be joined by Imam Ziad from the South Nepean Muslim community, as well as Nazira Tareen, who is Ottawa Muslim Women's Organization. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Our duty, not just religious, but social, is to be kind and respectful and work with all people, everybody around ourselves. And for that matter, we have established certain policies within ourselves to help Muslims in this point of time deal with their spiritual needs, not physically within the mosque structure, but rather through online. Example, we do not have ceremonies in the mosque simply because of dangers that we could spread the virus or be affected by it, and therefore all our ceremonies are virtual, online, live streaming, discussions. Even our counseling actually has gone viral. So when people do have issues, when people do have questions, they would connect with Imam Muhsin or myself, and we would be actually leading the community forward. When people are in need,
the technology allows us to do that, which is such an important asset during these times.
Of course, we have to adapt as religious groups to these new technological means, and certainly guide our community, from the notion of panic into tranquility and peace, even during these times. And it seems like it is working perfectly with us. Yes, we do miss mosque, we do miss our congregational gathering, we do miss our brothers and sisters, but for the sake of benefits of all, we certainly have to follow these rules.
Thank you so much for giving us a good overview of what you're doing as a religious leader, specifically within the Muslim community of Ottawa. Nazira, how's the Women Association organization staying connected? How are the women feeling through these challenging times, the Muslim women in Ottawa?
We are all trying hard to be strong and to help each other. We are connecting, like Imam Ziad said, through phones and emails and FaceTiming, and we are encouraging each one of us to stay strong.
In my community, we are actually connected on many levels. If you go to www.snmc.ca, it's South Nepean Muslim Community. You can also connect with us through our Facebook, South Nepean Muslim Community Facebook. You can also connect with us on Instagram, or even our YouTube channel, wow. SNMC YouTube channel. Our two imams, Imam Dr. Muhsin and myself, Imam Dr. Ziad, we are actually catering all these, messaging to the community on both levels, be it religious or social, because we know at this point of time, community is getting connected with us. Community wants this connection because this is a source of hope, inspiration, and certainly optimism for them.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. And yourself?
Yeah, we're all trying to struggle through this.
It is a challenge, but it's been great for me. I've connected with leaders from the Catholic, Anglican, Muslim, and this morning from the Jewish community. I'm so happy to take a bit of time and to learn more, and at the same time share what faith groups are doing in our city during these challenging times of Jewish faith.
Right, so Passover is actually 8 days. So today is day 4.
Day 4, okay, so we're still in
day 4. We still have time. We still have 4 more days after this. It's sort of like a complicated thing because the first 2 days of Passover are very intense. The last 2 days are very intense, which is why you had difficulty getting a hold of me. In the middle, we have what's called intermediate days, which are less intense, and we can use social media and things of that nature. In the intense period, the beginning almost is like you're in a different world. No television, no radio, no nothing, just concentrating on the holy day and its meaning. So we have that the first part of Passover, the last part of Passover. Basically, Passover is the commemoration of our very humble beginnings when we started off as an enslaved people, and we were able, through the grace of God and some miraculous deliverances, to become a free people, free not to do whatever we please, but free to embrace our responsibilities as spelled out in the Bible. So what we do on Passover is relive this from the beginning to the end. So the first part is leaving slavery, and the last part, which is the last 2 days, is embracing responsibility. And in the intermediate period, we sort of like build up to it little by little until we get to the final stages. And what we do is try to relive it in many ways, first of all, by telling the story of what happened, by engaging our next generation and asking the questions and making sure that they are interested in the answers. And then also to relive it in the best way we know how, which is to eat the foods that are reminiscent of that time. So we were so enslaved that we didn't have time to make real bread. So we had to have this very quickly made flour water mixture, which we know as unleavened bread, otherwise known as matzah. Having some bitter herbs, which reminds us of the bitterness of the time, amongst other things. So we combine various ways of knowing and make it a present day experience. And it's as if we're saying, we are here today because we had dedicated ancestors before who fought for their freedom, and we never take that for granted.
What are the leaders in Ottawa, the Jewish community leaders, doing during COVID to continue to share the faith and those prayer moments with the community?
So insofar as prayer is concerned, I think every single synagogue is making use of social media. The same thing that brought us together now, even though we're in our respective homes, but we've been able to link up. So we don't have the same exact prayer service because there is importance in realizing that even though we're connected, we're not as connected as we'd like to be. So there are certain prayers that can only be said in the public setting, which we do not say. But otherwise, all sorts of other prayers are said in the home. Sometimes we're able to link everyone up who is saying their prayers at home and say the individual private prayers together. So it gives a sense of community, and this is something that every single synagogue is doing. And it's a great blessing that we have, realizing what does a person do years and years ago when we didn't have this, when we had, even going back to Ebola, going back to
Spanish
other
flu.
plagues, in the beginning of the last century, they were totally isolated. So we at least have the blessing of being able to connect, even though we're physically disconnected, but spiritually very much connected. So everyone is trying to make the best of the situation. There's an abundance of classes where people are studying together, and it's so easy to do it today.
And they do so virtually.
Virtually. So virtually, yeah. So we've saved a lot of, and people are going to work that way too. So what they were able to do work-wise, we're able to do with all sorts of other spiritual needs.
If members are interested in learning more, all of the virtual connections, I imagine, are on the website, jewishottawa.org.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a wealth of stuff there.
Good. As you can see, our religious leaders have all gone online. I thank them for that. I thank them for continuing to be present. Our faith, our mental health is very important, and our social cohesion connection is very important during this period. I want to wish a happy Easter to everyone for Sunday. Obviously, for the Jewish community earlier this week, a happy Passover. And for the Muslim community later this month, a happy Ramadan. I want everyone to stay safe. And again, feel free to connect virtually. That is the directives from all of us. And again, we're a strong community, united in a multi-faith environment. And I want to thank our religious group for their continued contribution to Ottawa.